Okay. So I was talking about removing those you know unwanted characters. So in this particular situation now, Excel has done two things. One, it has converted this this, I don't know, I think it's data or this sign here. It has converted it to capital one and giving us unwanted characters like this. So how do we still deal with it even after doing the cleaning and then trimming? And Excel is still giving us something. There is another thing that we can use. We can use a function that we call substitute. Mhm. We call the function substitute. Substitute is that we have to manually, but this one it has to do like it has to be something that we have seen, right? We have to manually remove some of these unwanted characters from our this thing. Let's say we want to remove everything after this blue that we have here. So what we can do is that, okay, let me give us a hint of some of the things that we do. Let's say if I want to remove this particular dy, for example, maybe I won't use substitute. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say equal to, and I'm going to use the function find. So what is find going to do? Find is going to find a particular um this thing for me, and um is going to tell me, I'm going to tell it where it is going to find that thing. So this is what I want Excel to do. I want Excel to find, excuse me, I'm trying to use, I need to use apostrophe. I need to come, okay. I'm having issues with some of my, okay. All right. Excel is going to, okay. So if I want to remove the dy, for example, now I'm going to say equal to find. So what exactly do I want to find? So I want to find, okay, excuse me. I want to find a space within this particular text that we have here. And I want it to start from the first letter. And I'm going to close the bracket. Let's look at what Excel is going to do based on this function. So Excel is telling me that the space in this particular this thing that we have here is in position 5. So if we start to count each of the character, because all of these letters, every of them is called character. If we start to count it for this particular word now, we'll see that the space is in position 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then after the letter E, which is the fourth letter, the next character there is a space. So space itself is a character. So what I want now is that I only want to retain everything before the space. I don't know if you understand. I want to remove everything before after this blue here. I want to move everything after blue. One thing we can do is that, okay, let's say we want to count the number of letters there is 4. Then I will use another Excel function called left. So what is the text? This text. And what do I want to do with it? I need to keep the number of characters starting from the left hand side. How many characters do I want to keep? Just 4. The one that represents the blue. And I'm going to type the number 4. So the number of characters is showing me the number of letters or the number of characters that I want to keep. And I'm going to close my bracket. Now Excel is going to remove everything after blue. So that is one thing we can do to remove the unwanted signs or unwanted characters that we have here. We can use left if it is at the left, or here for this second one, because the characters is in between the letters. That is where we can use substitute. Now we can then say equal to substitute. Now Excel is giving us IntelliSense already. Replaces existing text with new text in a text string. Within a particular text string, Excel is going to replace an existing text with new one. But before we type the substitutes, let's go into this particular this thing. Okay, let's use this one, and we are going to copy what we don't want in the text. So we don't want this particular characters that we don't know. So I'm just going to select them. I'm going to press Ctrl C. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come back here and type equal to substitute. And I'm going to click on my text. So this is my text. So what is the old text? The old text is what I copied. So I'm going to put, but if you want to put the old text, you have to put everything in a curly bracket. As I said, curly bracket in what's it called now? And then you close it, comma, and then the new text. I want it to be, I want to replace it with apostrophe, because I'm sure that the apostrophe is what the person wanted to put there. It's supposed to be a student, blah blah blah. But maybe the person used something different that made everything turn into like unwanted character. And then we don't need the last one here. The last one, whenever you see something that is already in a square bracket, it means like it's optional in Excel. We can then close our bracket and press enter. So now Excel has replaced, I don't know, did I copy the I? Oh, I think I copied the I. So Excel has replaced everything before the M with apostrophe. So I think I copied the I. I can edit it here and remove the I and press enter. So now Excel has replaced everything. So the only issue with this particular function is that substitute and trying to find a particular character in a text is a manual. It looks like a manual process. It looks like a manual process. It's not something that you can do for a whole lot of text, except if that thing is like common in all of these text. Let's assume that this A and all of this pound sign and everything is in a lot of all of this text here. Then you can use this substitute function and then drag it down to do the same thing for all of these text. So what I've just done here, I can now come back here and instead of still typing everything again, I will now wrap my substitute function. I'll wrap it around all of this function here. So after everything, after the data has been trimmed, clean, and proper, we can now put a comma after it. So the old text is what we had initially. I will remove the I. That is the old text. Again, you have to put it in apostrophe or what's this called? I think it's apostrophe. I'm not sure. So to show that this thing is a text, comma, and then the new text, I want it to be just single apostrophe. But even if it is a single apostrophe, I still have to put two double quotation this thing before it and then close it. So when I press enter, it's going to do it like this. But because Excel was thinking this M was a new word, that is why it is bringing it in capital letter. So another thing I can do is that before my substitute, my proper should come, before my substitute. So when the data is trimmed, cleaned, and every other thing that we need to substitute is substituted, then I can now do the proper case. So if I want to do that now, what I will do is that I will remove proper, and then I'll remove one bracket, closing bracket here, and I'll come here and I'll put my proper before substitute. So it is after the substitute is done, then it will now be put in a proper case. I can now press enter. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, it's just Excel telling me. I don't know what's going on here. It's supposed to put everything in the proper case. Excuse me. Oh, so he's taking every first letter to be. So even this person is indecisive. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So if we want to know the difference between a letter or a text and number, for Excel is going to put all text to the left-hand side. It's going to align all text to the left-hand side and all numbers to the right-hand side. So for these particular numbers now, we'll see that it's at the right-hand side. And for letters, it is starting from the left-hand side. So it's because that's how Excel separates numerical data from text data. So if it is if it's a numerical data type, it's going to go to the right. And if it is letters or text data, it's going to go to the left. So, but then what are the informations that we can get from this kind of data now? What are the questions that we can answer? One of the questions is that in this particular question, the question says that pick a number between 1 to 100. And we have people that pick number randomly. In fact, we have about how many people that filled the form? 47 people. And we are just merely looking at the data, we can still see that people are already picking similar numbers. We have 50 here for this person from Oyo, and we also have 50 from someone from Lagos. So merely looking at the data, we see that we have some numbers that are the same thing. If we want to do some functions in Excel, some of the functions we can use in Excel is to do some aggregations. We want to get the sum of all of the total numbers that people filled. We want to get the average. Is also part of it. We want to get the count. So let's take, for example, now we want to count the number of people that fill this form. We want to count the number of people that fill the form. We can use equal to Excel function is called count. Count is like we'll start selecting all of the numbers one after the other. Or you will just click on all of the columns and drag it up till you select everything. After selecting everything, Excel is going to show us something that looks like um, a reference. If you look at this blue line surrounding this particular column now, you see that Excel is picking from M2. This is column M and row 2, picking from here until M47. The column means here everything between M2 and M47. That is what this column is representing. So just like Excel has done, you can type it manually yourself. If you know the range that you want to select, I want to select M2, and I'm going to, immediately I select M2, you can see the blue this thing around my M2, and I'm going to put column. That means this column means that M2, everything between M2 and every other thing I select, maybe I select M100, is going to select till M100. Even the empty space is going to select it until it gets to M100. But now I want to get to M47. So I'm going to put M47. You can see that Excel has selected everything that I want. So instead of doing it manually, after putting your count function, you can select everything like this. And then you do what? You close your bracket. That means I want to count every of the number here. Right? Whether there is duplicate or not, I just want to count everything. You see that Excel knows that it is 46 number. Even though some of these numbers here are duplicates, Excel still counted the double because I just wanted to count the number. Now, just like we have counted number, can we count text like that? No. And the reason is that count only works for number. I said that there are some functions that have to do with text, just like the substitute, this thing that I've been using here. The clean, trim, they work with text. Proper, upper, lower, they all work with text. So same thing with this one. But what if we want to count letters? So if you want to count letters, after typing your count, you have to put A after it. Count A or count R. So this A after it shows that Excel, there are some letters in your numbers. So Excel will know that, okay, you are trying to count maybe an alphanumeric or anything that has text in it. So now with this count A, we can press our equal to sign and use the count A. So Excel is saying count the number of cells in a range that are not empty, irrespective of what is inside. So how is it different from count? Count the number of cells in a range that contains number. It must be number. But this one say in a range that are not empty. So far this thing is not empty, it's going to count it. Irrespective of whether it is text or it is number or it is date or it is anything, it will count it. Now we can use this count A to count every other thing, or maybe you want to use it to count the number of people that actually fill the form. Again, we don't need to type it. We can just use C2 after my bracket, C2 column C47. Close my bracket. Or I can select everything manually by moving my mouse to select it and press enter. Now it's still going to show me 46 because 46 people actually filled this form. So if I want to get the average of all of these numbers here, it's just the way I did it. You can use Excel function equals to average. And I will select everything here. Close my bracket, and I'll get the average, 32.6873. If I want to sum everything as well, I will use my Excel sum function and I will select everything here. And I'm going to sum all of the numbers there. Hello, can we hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is what we call conditional statements or conditional functions. This is like one of the most important thing that you can learn when it comes to Excel. The conditional functions are is the if function. The if functions, excuse me, if function. So this if function is like a condition that you can use to call certain things in Excel. For example, you can say if someone is from Lagos, then I want to get um, their favorite color. So this is what I'm going to do now. Let me move everything here to the to one side. Let me okay. Okay. So let's say I want to get the color of people that are only from Lagos. People that are from Lagos, I want to get their color. So every um so every other persons or every other person that actually fill this form that they have color but it's not from Lagos. I don't want to see the color, right? So another thing that we need to learn as an analyst is that you need to, at your discretion, you have to determine how where you are going to categorize this person that is indecisive of the kind of color they want. So they said they are stuck between white, sky blue, and silver, right? It's based on your choice. You can just pick white. Let me decide for you, or you can pick sky blue or silver, right? So as an analyst, you have to determine those kind of things, right? And especially considering the fact that this person is from Lagos. So again, we are just going to pick a blue for them because blue is my favorite color, right? So we are going to pick a blue for them. But how do you determine those people that are from Lagos and get their color? So this is how to do it. You use what we call the if function. How does the if function work? It will be equal to if statement. Is a logical statement. If this state here equal to, again, whenever you are typing text, you have to put it in double quotation mark, is equal to Lagos in a proper case, is equal to Lagos. I want you to give me the color. Else, so you can see if you look at the intelligence of Excel, it's saying that what is the logical text that you want me to show? If the I2, which is the column for I, which is for state, if it is equal to Lagos, you can see I typed out my Lagos here. I want you to give me the color. If it is not, don't give me anything. So when you type apostrophe and double quotation mark, but you didn't put anything in between it, you just type the double quotation mark, it means nothing. That means you don't want anything to show. So if I put A in between it now, I want A to show. That means if the state is not Lagos, it will return A. But if it is Lagos, it will return the color. But if I will remove this A now, that means it should not return anything. After that, I'll close my bracket and I'll press enter. You see that I did not return anything because what we have here is not Lagos, it is Delta. Now I'm going to drag this down to fill for other rows that we have in our data. Excuse me, that's too much. What is going on? Okay, yes. So now if you see the color, that means this particular person is from Lagos. But there are some situations where people, right, actually put Lagos, but they didn't just put Lagos, they put Lagos State. For example, this particular person here who put Lagos State, but they didn't bring out the color. This is one of the reasons why we need to clean our data. Because this person now, this Lagos here, is no different from the Lagos that we have here. It's still the same Lagos. So again, how do we clean our data? We put it in a proper case. If you put this one in a proper case now, it will reduce it. You remove the state that is there. So you count the number of letters that is Lagos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you use your left function. Left. I only want, this is the text, and I only want 5 characters from the left. It will start counting from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you close it. You press enter. Now it has removed 5. It has only remained 5 letters from the left. I can also do from the right as well. Starting from the right, I want you to count 5 letters. If it is from the right, it will start counting from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will only retain state if I use the right. But I'm using left to retain the left letters, which is 5. So now it is now Lagos. And I will also put it in proper case so that the first letter will only be the one that is capital letter. So now if I do that, and I now replace my Lagos to the normal Lagos that is supposed to be there. Now, if I move it to the right, I expect the color to have shown blue. Okay, our time is really fast spent. I expect the color to have shown. So that is one way we can use the conditional function, if function. So another one is that you can say if this number is greater than 50, show lucky. Say you can say something like you want to know those that are lucky or those that are high or not high. So if this number is greater than 50, it should show you high. So you do something like equal to if this number that this person picked, if it is greater than 50. Now, if you are dealing with number, you don't need to put it in double quotation mark. You can just type number directly. But if you are writing letters, you have to put it in double quotation mark or a single one. Single one also works. If the number is, okay, my comma is acting up again. Okay, if the number is greater than 50, I want you to give me I. You can see that when I type I put it in double quotation mark. But else, if it is not greater than 50, I want you to give me low. And I'm going to close um, my function. Enter. You can see because this one is 1, it's giving me low. And then I can now, Again, you can drag it down or you can just move your mouse to the corner here. When it is dark plus sign, you double click it and it's going to fill everything for you. You can see this one is 77 is high. This one is 1 point, this is low. So unless it is greater than 50 to be high. What if I change this one to greater than just 2? Greater than 2, not just 50, not 50 anymore. I change it to greater than 2, enter. If this one, the first one is still low, but if I drag it down, if I move my mouse now and I try to drag it down, we have a lot of eyes because we have majority of these numbers that are greater than 2. So that is how this if works. There are other functions under the if. We have count if, we have sum if, and we have so many other ifs like that. So what an example of this count if is that I want to count these numbers here. I want to count the numbers. How many people are actually from Lagos? How many people are actually from Lagos? So what I want to do is that I want to count. Immediately I start typing count, you see a lot of functions under count. You have the normal count. We've talked about count A, which is for letters or any other thing. We also, and we've not talked about count blank, but we can guess what it means. You just want to count the number of blank spaces in rows or in a column. And we also have count if. This count if is what we want to talk about. So count the number of cells within a range that meets a given condition. So our condition count if is that it's going to ask two functions. It's going to ask the range and also going to ask the criteria. The range is what you actually want to count. Now, I want to count these particular numbers here. So I'm going to select everything, all of the numbers. So this is the range that I want to count, comma. Now, it's asking me for the criteria. The criteria is okay, no. I don't need to select the number I want to count. I can select the criteria itself. This is the criteria here. Oh, sorry. Let me do that again. So let's say we want to get the number of people that are actually, we want to count the number of people that are from Lagos equal to count. Now we'll now come to the location column and select everything. We select everything that we want to count, comma. It's now going to ask us for the criteria. The criteria is that we want to check the one that is actually from Lagos. Lagos is the criteria. And then we close the bracket and press enter. So it's giving us 0. I don't know why it's giving us 0. Okay, let me check. Okay, I can guess probably because it's what's it called? It's letters, not numbers. That's why it's giving us 0. It's letters, not numbers. That's why it's showing 0. Okay, let's do it again. But this time around, let's use this particular one. Count if. So we select this range for numbers, comma, and the criteria is mm, okay. I want to do something now. Let me change this criteria to. Let me change it to this. Still the same thing. Normally, it's supposed to count I don't know why it's not giving the right answer. Okay, now it's working fine now. So it's supposed to count the column and then given this criteria. So let's talk about the function again. So we have count if, and I selected the range for all of the columns that contain the states, and I selected this criteria, which is Lagos. So instead of typing Lagos, I've written Lagos at the top here. I've written Lagos at the top. So what I did is that I just selected um, I just selected this Lagos, not typing it, but selecting it from the cell reference T3 where it is located. So it's just as if I type Lagos here, right? Even if I type Lagos manually, it's still going to give me the answer, right? It's still going to give me 14, right? But because I already put my Lagos in a particular cell, instead of typing it again, I can just reference that Lagos. I can reference it where I typed it, T3, it's still going to be as if I picked Lagos. And it's going to count the number of Lagos. Now, if I want to do maybe Oyo now, Oyo for example, this is one thing. Instead of doing the count if again, I will now press Ctrl C. I copied it and I'm going to paste it into this column. Look at what Excel did. Excel is very intelligent to know that I'm selecting the top column for each of the cells that I am. It knows that I'm no more in cell T4 again. I've moved to U4. So it's now going to pick another criteria. The criteria that it is picking now is Oyo. And it now went to count the number of Oyo that it is seeing in that particular column. It's only 9 that is counting here. Again, this is why we need the data cleaning. This person here picked Oyo as well. The person picked Oyo, but the person, how am I going to put it? The person put it in a way that, Ibadan, they added their own this thing. So we don't need all of those things. We only need Ibadan. I'm sorry, we only need Oyo. How can we clean this one now to keep only Oyo? So again, we can use all of the processes that we've talked about, right? We can use left, we can use right to remove everything that we don't need, right? How can, if I want to do this now in an efficient way, one of the things I would do is that mm, I can substitute everything at the left hand side before this or before the space or after counting the space. I will just count the number of